we're moving very, very quickly in a direction where uh, we have a strategic.
The Bitcoin craze is approaching fever pitch as the king of cryptocurrencies surges toward the mythical $100,000 barrier. Fred Krueger, famous author of the Big Bitcoin book and an unrelenting Bitcoin supporter, has a big prediction. There is going to be a huge change in the financial industry. With $46 trillion locked up in stocks, another $46 trillion in bonds, and $5 to $6 trillion languishing in cash, Krueger presents an astounding picture of the state of the world economy. Despite this, Bitcoin only accounts for 0.31% of all global financial assets, with a current market value of $1.5 trillion and ETFs holding a meager $100 billion. Krueger claims that this is nothing in comparison to what is about to happen. He compares the Bitcoin market to a dam that is about to burst, ready to release a trillion-dollar tidal wave over the course of the next 4 years. 134. What is causing this extraordinary increase? The growth of ETFs with a Bitcoin concentration. ETFs have broken down barriers that formerly held institutional players, pension funds, retirement accounts, and traditional investors at the margins by making investing easier. As the value of Bitcoin approaches $100,000, Krueger's vision is evident. This is more than just a bull run. The financial revolution that we are currently seeing has the potential to completely alter the global economic system.
There's about 46, 47 trillion dollars worth of stocks out there, an equivalent amount of bonds, and 5 or 6 trillion of cash out there. And just in the U.S. alone, there's $100 trillion of financial assets. Bitcoin right now is a $1.5 trillion asset class, but of that 1.5 trillion, TradFi only owns about $100 billion worth, which is kind of the value of all the ETFs, which is about 1 million coins, and MicroStrategy, right? So in a world where they have $100 billion of it, but their total pie is $100 trillion, their actual asset allocation is 0.1%. And actually, it's less than that because Bitcoin's a global asset, and the U.S. doesn't have more than a third of the total global pie. So we're looking at something like 0.3 tenths of a percent of allocation to this asset class. We're going to north of 1% very quickly.
Yeah,
We're looking at $1 trillion coming into this asset over the next, let's call it 4 years. But it's if this money's coming in, you don't really want to be the last guy in the pool. Yes, there's some leverage with MicroStrategy buying a little bit of. I mean, all the amount of money that's come into this market is inconsequential relative to the amount of money that's about to come into this market. It just doesn't matter. So, again, there's these big buckets of money in the world, right? So there's self-directed people going to their stock, their portfolio, their account at Merrill Lynch and just clicking a few buttons and picking up some exposure to MSTR or one of the new ETFs. That's a third. You have institutions like pension funds, retirement accounts, and things like that. That's another third. And then you have managed accounts where wealth managers are allocating on behalf of their clients. That's a third. And none of these things they're just like dipping the very top bit of their toe in the water. That's 0.1%. They are not involved yet. So, it's sort of like the dam there's a little bit of water, there's a little fissure in the dam, and we're seeing some water drip through the dam. And we're going, oh my God, how much is the entire dam is about to break. Looking at the chart of Bitcoin in the past, I don't think informs you very well as to where it's about to go. We are about to have a breaking dam moment where TradFi has finally awoken to this asset. And number one, understands the asset, understands the opportunity. And number two, can now, for the last 9 months, invest in this asset. That the ETF is live. They can push a button, they can get exposure. So I think we have the catalyst for this move, which is the ETF. the necessary and sufficient condition. Before that, traditional finance, traditional investors couldn't buy Bitcoin easily. Sure,
Yeah.
they could open an account at Coinbase, but that's a very small percentage of people who are going to do that. Most people, they have their assets in a brokerage account or in a
Yeah.
bank, and for them to wire money to this thing called Coinbase and buy Bitcoin it's a stretch. We're moving very, very quickly in a direction where uh, we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve,
Hmm.
where the largest entity in the world, which is the U.S. government, is buying Bitcoin. And so, if you're not buying Bitcoin and your government is buying Bitcoin, and you're sort of still on the Peter Schiff train that this is not real money, you got to go see a doctor, because obviously it's real if the U.S. government's buying it. So it doesn't matter how much the U.S. government buys.
Yeah.
The fact that we have a strategic reserve is all you need to know. That is all you need to know, and
Yeah.
that means that if you're a company, your company needs to buy Bitcoin. If you're a country, your country needs to buy Bitcoin. If you're an individual, you need to start front running that as fast as you can, right? You
Yeah.
just got the go ahead. So you need to start your allocation, whatever it is way too low, you know. So
I
that's
mean,
the
I.
mental shift. Here's the first problem is, if you think about trading Bitcoin, you're in the wrong. You've already said the wrong thing. Okay. You should not you should not trade Bitcoin. Period. Full stop. Ever. Okay.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're asking about trading Bitcoin is wrong. This is probably going to be. I mean, it will be the best asset, the best performing asset of your entire life. And if you're trying to pick where it's going in the next 3 months, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But this thing is going to go so much higher that the only thing you need to do is, how can I possibly stomach the inevitable volatility that's going to happen, and how much of a position can I take?